Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this video this is part 2 of the Erbes Epic Towers lore, and today we have Biome 2. This is just, the quite pointless biome, since there's really nothing special in the history, at least in the early days. There's some. So yeah, let's start with the beginning. So I basically I remember the day where we had some kind of at school there was something I don't know how it's called in English, but basically in Germany the school system works like that. There's not elementary, middle school, high school. There's basically only elementary school, college, and high school and middle school are basically mixed. Just that you go from 5th grade to 13th grade or 10th grade. And basically the 4th graders of elementary schools were checking out our school on Saturday, and sadly we needed to go on Saturdays for 3 hours to the school. So on that day I remember being sick, and the last few mini towers were then finished. First of all, mini tower for the Eternal Abyss, and that other one. But yeah, then I decided immediately to make the Biome 2. I decided the lobby used to be really bad. I used to just make this huge black box, and then I just placed platforms down. These all walls did not exist, just this floor. This floor, yeah, this part is really not decorated, and and this, all these platforms and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically how it looked back then. And there were I made this right when Eternal Abyss was finished. So Northern Korea also worked on this immediately. While he started the new tower, which I'm gonna talk about a bit in a sec, I want to talk about the first medium tower and first tower of this area. Mini tower. Oh wait, I forgot the name, bro. Yeah, this was the first ever one here. So this lighting also did not exist, by the way. Yeah, Shield Thoughts. Yeah, this one was kind of my attempt of making trying at least to make phone snapping style gameplay. But I mean, if you have ever played Tower phone snapping, you know that this is definitely not similar to it in any way. It's just a normal tower, I guess. I mean, it just continues the normal stuff. And yeah, it just is your average early Erbes mini tower, so it's really not that special. Yeah, really, I just did that. Also, the wind room used to just be a random platform that floated here, if I remember correctly. So then Northern Korea made mini tower Slight Void, which was a sort of what we just copy, but they made it remorseless and just mini, It used to be here the only one in psychological unsafe mini towers, but yeah, it got removed. I don't know, I was AFK while my friend was revamping the lobby, and then it just got deleted. It was also a collab with the other person that made the other catastrophic in Biome 2, Biome 1, so it's kind of like that for some reason. But yeah, it got randomly removed. I think it was my thread or something like that. But yeah, basically it got killed, so I immediately, when the revamp came out, I made this secret with a memorial. These were all the warnings besides the crater. Yeah, after that basically I made underground adventures. Only the first 2 floors were finished, by the way. Anyways, yeah, this is the basically the the second mini tower, if I remember correctly. This might also not be, I don't know. I have like a bit of confusion with like some of these, since these were like made. These are like really similar. This one is like kind of cool, I guess, since it's heavily inspired by Tower of Ancient Trickery's first part. Actually, like mostly, just that the decoration is a lot worse. And then I just made Tower of getting gnomed into here. For some reason. Yeah, really, this wasn't really that special. So, then I decided to make. Oh yeah, and then this tower is not finished, I think. And then my friend started mini tower of encouragement, which, you know, Agato is really talented at building, or used to be at least, since he quit the game, unfortunately. So yeah, basically only the first 2 floors, or the first floors done. But this really had good potential, but it really was never done, sadly, or finished at least. It is used to also be planned to be a shop, if I remember correctly. Kind of weird, I don't know why, though. Then I made mini tower circular. Okay, what the hell is this part? Yeah, okay, there's some kind of weird thing. I tried to use like lightning changes, and I was kind of inspired by Tower of Cold Hands, or at least tried to be. At least I wanted to use it of Super Smash Bros. Music, and I just wanted that Tower of Cold Hands floor 4 song so badly. Luckily, there was still the one from Tower of Scream Punching floor 5, but not the other one. Not the one from Tower of Cold Hands. And yeah, when then basically introductory towers also didn't exist. But I also added this text was also there, and it used to have biome without the E. No, we don't talk about that, okay? I got to basically also change the font from this. This was just normal text up to that point. So I got to basically revamp this, and here I have the credits. Now we come to the bit of a weirder part in terms of building. I don't remember correctly, but the difficulty trial was also there. Yeah, not in Korea after they found out that Minotaur Slight Void has been removed, they started progress on this Minotaur, which again was not finished. This biome was in works around October to November. I don't really remember correctly anymore, but it was definitely in November at least. Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why. And this has some weird gameplay at some parts. But yeah, also only the first 2 floors were done. Oh, I don't remember this song being in here. Anyway, yeah. After that, that tower was also never finished, sadly. So now we come to the more weird part where I don't really remember anything that good. Again, this is like one of the least interesting biomes in terms of history. I think weird architecture was made first. I really like this tower, or at least used to. What's one of my favorite one? Okay, yeah, Tower Crater rescripted, screwed this game, screwed these old areas over. Yeah, it used to have the Roblox 2006 song, but it sadly got copyrighted and is no longer in the game. Oh yeah, I remember this part. This is really creative. And yeah, this also had a lot of soft blocks. And this was like made when my hardest was still 2IP. I think even that this area was in development before November of 2025. even though I'm not sure. Also, a funny thing about this is the first time I made a wacky frame. If you've played some of my newer towers, you might have known that, or at least of my newer mini towers, you might have realized that my wacky frames, at least other people's fan games, are pretty cool, at least in my opinion. And in other people's, they seem to like my mini tower frames at least, because you know, gameplay is sometimes questionable. But yeah, I also tried to make this really punishing. This might be a free intense, I don't know. This was also the first time I really started using a lot of Calamity music. And yeah, for some time after this, I only use Calamity mod music towers. As you can see by another tower that I made, even though it's a bit, you know, newer. And that's called Tower of Rap Calamity. I guess you could say it has Calamity in the name, so that's why I only use Calamity mod music. Or almost, because there's a paper model song maybe on the final floor, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this funny thing also about this frame, this mini tower's frame, is that it's a difficulty chart reversed right next to the difficulty chart mini tower. Kind of funny if you ask me. Now we get to, like, again, a bit of a confusing part. I don't remember if I did which of these mini towers I did first, but I think Pure Darkness was made first. Basically, what this mini tower was, it's basically just a follow-up to Mini Tower of Darkness, just this time being really hard. This was initially planned to be intense, if I remember correctly. Okay, yeah, this was probably planned to be intense, and again inspired by Tower of Deep Darkness and the possible expectations too this time. As you can see by some part, yeah, this part is kind of weird, and this is definitely not that easy of a mini tower. Okay, and some of these mini towers really have eye destroying due to glitches in Tower Criteria Legacy. Yeah, and this part is kind of weird. And yeah, then we just continue with this part, and as you can see, basically, yeah, this is not the easiest. This is not the easiest mini tower, and it just features basically a lot. Yeah, but due to this part, I would say that it's probably challenging, intense. And we just get onto this heck of a final floor. This is actually really short. Like, Sunny just loses every Tower of Deep Darkness element. Don't ask me why, it somehow just happened. I don't know. I rushed that final part, to be honest, so yeah. So, next up, I made Mini Tower of Weird Pinkness, and I really wanted to make a purest kind of tower, and I mixed multiple tower elements into this. This was also the beginning of my tots / rap spam addiction. At least it's kind of started with this tower, even though earlier towers already had a lot of raps. But this one was like the first one that was like really similar to tots. I also like was probably grinding codes while making this, but I'm not really sure anymore. Yeah, this is just, I definitely made the last part. I remember like I have some memories while making this mini tower, while being on a like call with my friend, and I basically was home alone. And yeah, that's just the only part that I remember while making this. Yeah, I was heavily inspired by Tale of True Skill. At least, like, I used to have a pretty weird imagination. Like, I used to think that Tale of True Skill was really different than it actually is. And now I wanted always to make a tower similar to it. And I've made somewhat which are kind of similar, I guess. At least to that, like, expectation. But yeah, really no one that was like all the way around like it. Yeah, the last two floors are also inspired by Tower of Madness last floor with like all the wedges and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically it. Now we got onto the more, you know, obscure one here, Midi Tower Suffering. Yeah, sorry, but this was like my attempt of recreating Tough True Skill Floor 2 style gameplay, and also some elements from, you know, Floor 10. But then it just suddenly turns into QC for some reason, because I didn't know that you could make textures transparent yet, so there are just these white things. Okay, that's not. At least I tried to make it like QC, I guess. I was also kind of inspired by Tower of Eternal Suffering. That helps, I guess. But yeah, this might have been really early in my thoughts grind, even though I'm not really sure. I think that I made this right after I getting to floor 2 for the first time, and yeah, this final stretch is basically just Tower of True Skill floor 10, but kind of weird, you know. And the unique part about this mini tower is basically just that they are like two mini towers next to each other that make one. Also, funny thing about this area was that this was the first one to have mini towers that had 10 floors. So I guess this had some important things. So now we come again to a weirder point, but I'm pretty sure what mini tower was made next. Also, yeah, I think around here I had another person like wanted to make a mini tower, and they just made a normal citadel portal in the middle of the lobby. And yeah, I removed it, and yeah, we had some beef, so I guess, I don't know. It wasn't really beef, I guess, but they also made a Tower of Heck kind of clone, I guess. But yeah, so then right after that I made the mini citadel, which is placed at the worst part. Mini citadel of the journey to the top. I don't know what I was thinking while making this mini tower. It's just really weird. I don't know. I don't really like this one, to be honest. It's definitely one of the like more obscure things. Like, this isn't really themed, but it also really is themed. Like, it's kind of a weird situation, you know. This is also the first mini citadel to have 25 floors. Yeah, just look at this gameplay, please. I don't know, I tried to like be like TODD, but also not. I don't know, man, about this. Oh yeah, not the wall hopping, man. That was kind of cool. This part is also not good. Since I wanted to use like technically fin studs, I don't know. Yeah, this is just such a weird mini tower. At least mini citadel if you want to be annoying. Yes. I guess, you know, these grass floors are kind of themed, but then we again get to this part where like what was I trying to do, bro? Oh yeah, and then we get the cloud floor from Underground Adventures. Okay. Yeah, I remember making my clouds slightly transparent, so you could barely see that they are transparent in there or something. Yeah. This just features some really awkward gameplay. And then we just... The cool part about this mini citadel is that it like Descending into Madness just goes through like some parts. Like Descending into Madness went like underground, I guess, but this one went like over the main cave, which is kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, then we just get this weird like empty space like in the back rooms. but then yeah, we get to the more obscure part of this mini tower. Mini citadel, sorry. These actually has few floors are just an unnecessary difficulty spike for some reason. You went, okay, yeah, grammar. I know. You know what? I'm just gonna keep it for the jokes. You know. Nice. GG for you. Yeah, and that's it, basically. Just kidding. We have a few more. Hype Craziness by Jong16. Yeah, this one was not finished slightly, and to be honest, like, it had definitely some potentials in some aspects, but again, this is supposed to be challenging. So yeah, kind of, I don't know. Jong16 was really inconsistent with being online when they were playing Roblox. Anyways, it's time for the SC of this area, for which I didn't even make a portal. By the wind room. Yeah. But don't worry, the wind room is bad. Yeah, this mini tower is Tower of Difficulty chart. I think it's called Mini Tower of another difficulty chart, or something like that. Another Mini Tower of Difficulty chart, I guess. Since around the time there were a ton of mini towers that were basically 2DC, and not mini towers, sorry, towers that were, you know, kind of copying 2DC. And yeah, that basically I used a ton of fin slots. I don't even think the sludge works for some reason. But yeah, this was super cheesable, and the terrifying floors are not even terrifying. But the only reason why this tower is so hard is just because of this final jump. If you don't cheese it. Yeah, this is the winner. I did not bother to do anything. You know why? Because we're now at the near end of this mini tower system, of this Erbes system. So now we have this one. Oh, wait. Isn't there even a portal? Yo, wait. So like, mini tower of Getting Harsh's creator, basically made the second tower in this area. Basically made the tower in this area. And yeah, this is the tower that they made. Yeah, this. Oh, you can skip, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this was the last one in this area. So, kind of makes. It's kind of a neat mini tower, if you ask me. It's definitely one of the better ones. So yeah, we have. Last video, I think we ended on to 18, which means that we have 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, 24, 26, 27, 28, 20, 29, and then if we count the mini citadel, we have 30. Slight void, we have 31, and 32 is another difficulty chart. Yeah. So yeah, 32 I guess we have now. Kind of neat. This has a lot of mini towers, and the reason why I also wanted to end this off is, first of all, because the next biome would be pretty big and one of the biggest that I ever made. Second of all, there was no more space to make a mini tower. I mean, there were like so many weird frames taking up just the entire space. And like, but let me remind you that this is not even that you basically did not have any kind of room to build a mini tower. I mean, there were like random ones that were like squeezed in, I guess, like this one. But yeah, basically just these wacky framed mini towers. These two especially, just taking up the entire space. Nothing against these though. So yeah, that's it with this biome. You know, this is quite the least interesting and unnecessary biome, to be honest. So yeah, see you next time, and bye.